To lay out your fabric, the first thing you want to do is press it so it's wrinkle free. So I've already done that with this piece of fabric, and the next thing you want to do is lay it out by folding it and bringing the selvage edges together. If you're not sure which side the selvage is, it's going to be that manufactured straight edge, and it's pretty obvious on this piece of fabric. Sometimes it also has writing on that edge. So I'm going to bring them together, and to make sure they stay together, I'm going to put a few pins in the fabric to keep it straight. It's important that it lays smooth and that there's no wrinkles underneath the fabric. So if you need to, you can add more pins if you have a large piece of fabric along the edges to help it lay straight and flat. Now for the athletic drawstring bag, I'm trying to make a custom size, and you get to decide what size you want to make your bag. For this one, I've decided to go with a 19 by 15 inch bag, and I'm keeping in mind that the seam allowances on each end will be 5/8 inch. And so I know that I'm going to be losing about an inch on each end of the bag, the vertical end and the horizontal. I should add that when choosing your side, on the width, you're going to lose about an inch because of the seam allowances, just over an inch. But on the length of the bag, you'll lose an inch and a fourth for the casing, because the top needs to be folded over, and then 5/8 inch for the bottom, so about 2 inches. So keep that in mind when you're sizing your bag. And so I'm going to start in the corner, so it makes sense to use the straight edge, and I'm going to measure 19 inches. So from that top corner down, you can see I'm just off the edge, 19, and I'm going to use my marking pencil or your chalk and make a small mark. You can see it there. I'm going to come over, and I can measure to kind of get an estimate of where 15 inches is, and I'm going to, at the very top, make a mark where 15 inches is, and I've already straightened the grain, so I know, you can see there, my 15-inch mark. I like this. Then I'm going to come down from that mark and make sure I am at 19 inches and make a little mark, and then come across, and I should be at 15 inches. Now, you're always supposed to measure twice, cut once. With fabric, it's especially true. You don't want to mess up your project before you even get a chance to sew. So I always, especially when I'm making my own pattern, which you're doing, is double check and make lots of markings. So I'm going to go through this. So I'm going to go through and make several markings to ensure that I'm square. It doesn't hurt. The chalk will wash off. So then I can go along the selvage and measure several times 15 inches. Now remember, you can do whatever size bag you want. So feel free to be creative. You can make a bigger bag and a smaller bag, or for that matter, a different shape bag. It doesn't have to be rectangular. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut. So when you cut, a lot of students struggle with this. You always want to cut away from you. You use your shears. I have right-handed shears and left-handed, and you cut with the fabric away from you, standing. I see students sometimes sitting and trying to cut. It's not as accurate, and you're actually working harder. You don't have good leverage. So it was really easy for me to cut following my dots. And then instead of moving your fabric, which you work so hard to lay out perfectly, you can actually just move your body and come over to where it's comfortable for you to cut. So I came over here on this side of the table, and again, I'm cutting away from myself. So now I have my bag. It's perfectly square and it's straight with the selvage. I've straightened the grain ahead of time, so I know it's a perfect rectangle exactly to my dimensions.